I've decided I'm going to start work on some smaller game projects, finish and publish them to gain more experience as a developer. I've been looking to increase my skill set, so I decided to learn Unity, and I think I'm at the stage now where I can actually make a game without being entirely reliant on tutorials. So what's this next project I'm working on? Introducing Party Champ. If you've ever played a Mario Party game, you more or less know what you're in for. My main experience with this type of game is a game called Pummel Party on Steam. While playing with friends, I couldn't help but think there was a lot of missed potential and that the minigame variety was lacking. If you aren't familiar with these types of games, they're essentially a digital board game, and after each round of turns, you play a short minigame that rewards you with coins and establishes the next round's turn order. Players can be rewarded items that they can use on their turn to help them move faster around the map or disrupt other players. The aim of the game is to collect the most stars, or goblets, which you buy with coins from the randomized tile locations on the board. I'm not sure if Mario Party is the originator of this formula, but I think it's the most well known. Pummel Party iterates on this by letting you damage other players with items, making them drop keys or even killing them, sending them back to a respawn tile. As I said, I only have experience playing Pummel Party, so I'm just going to refer to that. One thing I noticed while playing, the actions on the game board felt very limited. The item variety is lacking, with half of them used for damage. Then outside of using an item, you roll the die and just hope for a big number to bring you closer to the chest, which gives you a goblet. The tiles on the game board aren't particularly interesting. There's a key tile, item tile, health tile, damage, reaper, and a map event tile, which activates a map-specific event which has some cool effects on some maps, like raising the water in a particular area of the map, damaging players that enter that area, but some not so great effects on some other maps, like opening and closing a pretty redundant shortcut. When you roll knowing nothing too interesting is going to happen based on where you land. As long as you don't land on a damage tile, that's about it. I think now's a good time to say I really like Pummel Party, and I've had a lot of fun playing it, but I just feel like there's some areas that could be improved. So the way in which I'm going to iterate on this formula is to make the game board feel more dynamic, more stuff to do on the board when it's your turn, more changes to the board throughout the match, trying to utilize the fact that this is a video game, not a physical board game. Before I get into the gameplay and what's new and different in Party Champ, let's talk about the champs. When coming up with a character you play as, it's a pretty important part, because it's literally the face of the game. I wanted something close to Sackboy from Little Big Planet and the Modination Racer characters. The first concepts are pretty rough though, I won't lie. I'm relatively new to 3D modeling, and I was actually pretty happy with my first attempt. I feel like most people that do 3D game development have probably heard of Mixamo. It's a free Adobe library of high quality motion capture animation. I don't have any experience doing 3D animation, so we're just going to make do with Mixamo, and I'll manually make animations when necessary. But here it is, your very own little champ. So what makes Party Champ different from these other games? The main mechanic on the game board is the player's dice throw. The dice are no longer rolled for a number, they are instead thrown in a given direction. Dice can bounce off of other players' heads, inflicting damage, or be thrown at specific targets on the map to maybe activate traps, or increase your roll. The map's environment is still under construction, but hopefully next video I can have this completely finished. The currency you collect in Party Champ are these poker chips. Coloured by the player character from which they came, each player has their own colour chosen before the game starts to distinguish themselves from each other. Right now I have the player's skin tied to their colour, but this won't be the case in the full game. You'll be able to customise your character however you'd like. I'll just put a coloured name tag over the player to better identify them. Players can drop or lose chips throughout the game, from things like taking damage. Chips are used to purchase diamonds around the map. The player with the most diamonds at the end of the game wins and becomes the party champion. Chips will also be used to buy items at various points on the map. Items are used before rolling the die. Like Pummel Party, players have health that when depleted respawns them at a respawn tile. An item will fall into at least one of 4 categories: damage, movement, protection, or whimsical. I don't have any items programmed in yet, so more on that in a separate video. As well as items, the player will collect power cards. Power cards work differently than items. They will activate immediately upon pickup, or passively when a criteria is met. So a passive one might be, the next player that damages you, the damage is reflected back on them. The effect of a power card is kept secret from other players until it is activated. It is only the player that receives the card initially that knows what it does before it activates. The cards are based off of playing cards, that is, a card's value is based on the value 2 to 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace, with 2 being the lowest value power card and Ace being the highest value. The suit of a card indicates the type of card, so each suit will have a different effect or a way in which it's activated. When a player picks up a card, only its suit is revealed to other players, but more on that in a separate video. The best thing about all this stuff is that if you don't like certain cards or certain items, you can remove them from the pool before the game starts. Let's talk about the map tiles. There's chip tiles, item tiles, ambulance tiles, damage tiles, card tiles, and respawn tiles. Chance tiles work like chance cards from Monopoly, so expect a random effect, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. Real estate tiles can be purchased by players. When an opposing player lands on your tile, they have to pay up a fee or die. Shop tiles allow you to buy from a selection of items in stock. Jail tiles send you to jail. This will work kind of like Monopoly's jail system, but more on that later. The map also has various transportation tiles. I'll discuss this more in a separate video though. The map event tile activates a map event, which I'll speak more on in a different video as well. The traffic light tile toggles the traffic lanes. The traffic lanes are alternate paths you can take on the map. When they're green, you can walk on them, and when they're red, lanes of cars drive on them. And if you're on one of these tiles, when the lanes switch,
you will die.
You know, we're this far into the video, and I don't think I've even mentioned it's online multiplayer. Everything you're seeing right now is being played through the local network. So it's all functional online code, it's just I haven't made it connect to any other networks. A match can have 2 to 8 players, although I actually have it set up to allow much more right now, but I think more than 8 players could slow down the experience too much. And I'll also have to design minigames with a max player count in mind. As for what kinds of minigames I've got planned, I'll need to prototype them first before I know what really works. I've got ideas for obstacle course races, last man standing battles, or survival. The plan right now is to get the board, lobby, and menus finished, and then I'll make a load of bare-bone minigames to playtest and see what's fun and what needs more work. I've been working on this for a little less than 4 weeks at this point. I'm setting a goal of trying to finish it within the next 3 months. That would be all of the menus finished, the game board finished, and 30 minigames finished, while making development videos along the way. I'm going to try my best to stick to this. I feel like it's good to have a difficult goal, even if you're likely to fall short. I'll reassess after this point and see how many more minigames I should add, and how many new, unique game boards I should make. And player customization will be somewhere in there too. And then hopefully a Steam release is next. I've got a lot of work to do, so I'll see you in the next video, which will hopefully be pretty soon.